My mother-in-law made our wedding planning stressful, so we just canceled it.
It's over.
It's over. All names are fake. I never thought I'd be posting here, but I'm at my breaking point. I'm getting married in 6 weeks to James, 30 male, who I genuinely love. He's kind, funny, supportive, or at least he was until wedding planning turned into what feels like an extended episode of Mean Girls, with his mother, Karen, 56 female, playing the role of Regina George's older, scarier, passive-aggressive cousin. By the way, this comes from Boiling Point Potato, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. I've always been super non-confrontational. Like, I'm the kind of person who says, oh no, it's fine, when the waiter brings the wrong food because I don't want to be a bother.
Oh.
I hate conflict. I'd rather swallow my feelings whole than deal with the awkwardness of an argument. But Karen is turning me into the kind of person who screams into pillows. At first, I thought she was just the typical overbearing mother. You know, the no one is good enough for my son type. But this is different. She's not outright rude. It's worse than that because everything she does is wrapped in this being helpful package, which makes me feel crazy for even getting upset. At my bridal shower, she stood up and gave this felt speech ending with, I always pictured James with someone more refined, but Sarah's so fun and casual. It really keeps things interesting.
Really? We're doing backhanded compliments now?
Dang, man. The whole room laughed.
No, they didn't.
The whole room.
The
laughed.
whole room?
Nah. I sat there wondering if anyone else felt the secondhand sting. She's part of this little clique of family friends, think adult, who wear matching yoga gear and drink wine like it's a personality trait. They make me feel like an outsider at my own engagement events. I swear it's like I'm back in high school trying to sit at the lunch table with girls who pretend they don't hear me. She gifted me a book called The Art of Being a Good Wife. When I awkwardly laughed, she said, oh, it's just a little joke, but marriage can be challenging for women who've been so career focused. Thought you'd appreciate it. Like, what? Am I supposed to be grateful? At a family dinner, she glanced at my plate and said, wow, you're not one of those brides obsessed with crash dieting? Huh, good for you. I didn't even know how to respond because was that a compliment? An insult? Both? She once pulled me aside and said, planning a wedding can be overwhelming, especially if you're not naturally organized, but you're doing your best and that's what matters. Shut up. Shut up.
Now we're getting a little exhausting, aren't we?
This was after I mixed up one vendor appointment, like sorry for being human. She constantly forgets basic things about me. She introduces me to people like I'm an afterthought. This is James' fiance, Sarah, right? She doesn't know your name? She works with numbers or something?
That's a power play.
I'm a data analyst. Oh yeah, she knows your name.
Power play. Easy power play.
You're his fiance and she doesn't know your name? No.
Standardized power play. Why did I get so big? How did I get so big?
Oh, now you're quite big.
Why'd you make me so big? My body is huge.
I told her this many times. She just doesn't care to remember. The worst part, James doesn't see it. Every time I try to talk to him, he says, that's just how she is. Or she doesn't mean it like that. He's not a mama's boy. He's just blind to the subtle stuff because he's grown up with it. My family, they're the keep the peace type. My mom literally said she probably is just nervous about losing her son. Don't take it personally. Like, okay, but why does her anxiety have to become my emotional, the old one bag? The only person who's truly been in my corner is my maid of honor. She's the kind of friend who would fight a bear for me. She's witnessed Karen's behavior firsthand and has even called her out in the most polite, cutting way imaginable. Basically my hero. She's also has been gently trying to push me towards standing up for myself. Now, here's the thing. I've seriously considered calling off the wedding, but the idea of that, absolutely terrifying. Not just because I love James, but because dealing with the fallout sounds like my worst nightmare. Because again, OP hates.
This is not a thing to be like, well, I don't want to have any conflict.
I'm wondering, it feels like really quickly pausing. I'm kind of wondering if OP wants to call off the wedding to avoid the confrontation of talking about, of actually having like a conversation, her fiance, about like why his mom is a problem.
That's
like,
that's probably the case.
It's like a double avoidance thing going on here.
But then guess what? When you cancel the wedding, you're gonna have to have a lot of conversations.
And a lot of
confrontations.
The awkward conversations, the disappointment, the feeling of having failed, it's enough to make me want to crawl under a blanket and never come out. But at the same time, I am scared of walking down the aisle with this giant pit in my stomach, knowing I ignored every red flag because I was too afraid to speak up. So, am I overreacting? Is this normal wedding stress that everyone deals with? Or am I ignoring something that only is going to get worse after the vows are said? I just Need opinions from people who aren't biased because I feel like I'm losing my mind. There is an update. I wanted to give you an update, and things have definitely shifted in the past day. After reading through all the comments, it was clear I had to talk to James first, but I'll be honest, I needed a boost. So before talking to James, I called my brother for his perspective. I thought he'd be on my side, but he gave me a reality check instead. He said he couldn't believe I was seriously considered canceling the wedding over a few comments from my mother-in-law. He told me if that was the only reason I was planning to cancel something so huge as a wedding, I needed to take a serious step back. He basically told me that no one is perfect and relationships, especially marriage, involve compromise. He said a wedding is such a huge deal and I shouldn't rush to make a decision over something that could be worked through. Then he said something that hit home. This is how you always are. You have no opinions until the very last moment, and then you freak out when you realize how it's actually a problem and won't go away just because you don't react to it. Ooh,
Damn.
to be known is scary.
Talked about the Johari window before. Goodness. That is something you did not know about yourself. Everybody else knows about you. Startling revelation.
I didn't realize that this was a problem, but looking back, wow, he was so right. And honestly, I didn't realize I had a pattern of letting things build up until I can't take it anymore, and then I panic. That's something I need to work on. But you know what? You have that moment where people tell you something that you never knew about yourself. You realize, wow, everyone has maybe been thinking about this or like has noticed this about me.
Yeah.
That is when you're able to start working on it, which is something that's happened to me before.
Gain awareness.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I need to work on that and improve on that.
It's a universal human experience.
After that conversation, I went straight to James. I'm terrible at confrontations and tend to get emotional, so I decided to write him a letter to get everything off my chest. I told him how hurt I was by his mom's comments, how I felt unsupported when he didn't take me seriously, and how worried I was about moving forward with the wedding. Things didn't change. When we sat down after he read it, he told me how hurt he was that I jumped straight to thinking about canceling the wedding without talking to him first. He felt blindsided and like I didn't give him a chance to be part of the conversation.
Didn't.
You didn't. Again, wow. You guys were so right about actually talking it through with him. Shocking. But he admitted that he didn't realize how much his mom's behavior was affecting me. He agreed that it wasn't okay and that he shouldn't have brushed off my feeling. At the same time, he explained how much he loves his mom and how worried he is about making things worse if he steps in too hard. Still, he promised he would back me up when I needed him. It's clear to me now that I've been expecting James to handle things with his mom that I need to address myself. I can't rely on him to fix everything. I need to step up and handle some of this on my own. Next, we're planning to have a private conversation with his mom. I'm not sure how much it will help, but having James there for support can only make things easier.
Right, exactly. I was going to say that. I was like, maybe don't actually tank point with the mom. Do it together.
Yeah.
That should be a conversation.
Duo. Thanks again for all your advice. You really helped me find courage to have these tough conversations. And I talked to him about couples therapy. He felt we didn't need it, but we still booked a session just to see if it would help. I am not sure what the conversation with Karen would be like, but like everyone pointed out, I should deal with it first instead of imagining the worst and just suppressing it. Not sure what that looks like, and even just writing this makes me hyperventilate and want to puke, but as I have been advised so many times by you guys, the right thing to do. And there is the update.
I'll
Which,
say
if
this.
you just saw that title, what were you
Please
saying?
continue.
I'm back with one last update, and trust me, I didn't see this one coming either. Strap in, because it's a ride. First, thank you to everyone who supported me through my last post. Reading your comments made me feel so validated, and honestly, it gave me the push I needed. So here's what happened after that. James and I decided it was time to have the dreaded talk with Karen. I wasn't exactly thrilled, but we both knew we couldn't keep ignoring it. Spoiler, it went about as well as you'd expect. We sat her down and explained how her constant digs and helpful comments were hurtful and unnecessary. She, of course, denied everything. I'm just being honest. You're too sensitive. And my personal favorite, I'm only trying to help you be a better wife. I love that she's doing it in the process of saying that she's not doing it.
Actively doing it. In real time.
Yeah, she actually said that. James tried to back me up, but every time he did, she pulled the whole, that you're choosing her over your own mother guilt trip. Which is exhausting.
Newsflash, if she's going to be my wife,
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
After an hour of going in circles, we realized nothing was going to change. Honestly, I've never seen James so irritated in my life. So we just stopped responding. No calls, no texts, nothing. And let me tell you, Karen did not take it well. She left endless voicemails, sent passive-aggressive texts, and even showed up at our place once. We didn't let her in. God, I've never seen her so pissed off. I'll be honest, I was so happy about how I was actually getting to her. Nothing I said seemed to annoy her as much as not reacting to her did. They want to react and be upset by it. That's what they're looking for. We expected some fallout, but what happened next? We never saw it coming. Karen got into a massive argument with another family member. We're still not 100% clear on what sparked it. Something about money, family heirlooms, who knows. But it escalated fast. And then the cops got involved.
Oh boy.
Yeah, actual police. From what we've pieced together, Karen lost it. We're talking threats, some property damage, and just complete chaos. Next thing we knew, there were legal charges being filed. It still doesn't feel real. James and I were floored. My parents couldn't believe it either. My mom kept saying, we knew she was difficult, but this? Yeah, same. I still can't believe she did something like this. It seems so different from usual. I honestly think this is something more than the small issue everyone is making it seem like, because she actually got physical.
Yeah, no, being arrested is not typically
It's not
a small issue.
thing.
That's typically comes from a
large
bigger
thing.
issue.
With all this going on, the wedding quickly became the least of our worries. After a lot of long talks and even longer silences, because how do we react to this? James and I decided to cancel it. Not because we don't love each other, but because we need to process everything, figure out boundaries, and honestly just breathe. I think that is very smart. He especially had just had something crazy happen in his life.
Time to breathe, time to process.
We're still together and we're starting therapy both individually and as a couple. There's a lot to unpack and we both need to heal from all this. So yeah, that's where we're at. No wedding for now, one mother-in-law possibly facing legal trouble, and me finally breathing for the first time in months. Thank you for everything. Your advice and support really got me through some rough moments. And there is another update. I think the final update. Do you have any thoughts?
I think it's good. I think it's good that the wedding has been postponed. I'm glad. I saw some people in the comments being like, "Leave him," and I'm like, I don't
think we have to leave him. I think he
Yeah.
was really understanding when they had that conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a divorce or break up with him moment. I think this is we need to postpone the wedding because a lot is going on in our lives and we
Yeah.
need to readjust to understand how we're going to effectively approach this relationship. Update 3. I know I said my last post was the final update, but after reading through some of the comments, I just want to clarify a couple of things, especially to everyone saying we should just elope. It's not really the wedding itself that's the issue. Even if we eloped, mother-in-law would still be in our lives, and honestly, that's what worries me the most. This isn't just about the ceremony being ruined, it's about having someone this unpredictable around us forever. How do you have a relationship with someone like that? James has to because she's his mom, but why should I suffer through this woman's nonsense? By the way, you can suffer through our nonsense by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search for Storytime. And there's a little bit left. And if I'm being totally honest, I'm a little freaked out right now. After everything that went down, I can't stop thinking, what if she decides to come after me next? What if it gets physical? That thought has been living rent-free in my mind since all of this happened. Especially since I've never really been a violent person, and honestly, this is the first time in my life that someone had to be escorted by the police. Right now, James and I are just trying to process everything and figure out what happens next. It's a lot, and we're taking it one day at a time, but we're both still kind of in shock. Therapy is helping, but yeah, we've got a long road ahead. Thanks again for all the support. Seriously, you guys have made this whole mess a little more bearable. And that is the end of that story.
Indeed.
Woo-wee.
Well, internet
things
to the
read.
rescue.
Yeah.
I hope she learns to speak her mind more
Speak your
often.
mind. Tell the people what you feel.
And ban mother-in-law.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that's the end of that.